a member of National Disaster Assessment and Coordination. Buba is an emergency Trump leader for International Federation of Red Cross Movement. He is of both local and international disasters and all emergency preparedness and response. He has 12 years experience in humanitarian crisis management. We welcome Buba to our civic education show today to discuss COVID-19 situation in the Gambia. So Buba, you are welcome to New Gambia Platform show.
Thank you so much. Thank you so very much for inviting me to the platform.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So Buba, we want to, you are on the ground. I mean, you guys are doing an awesome job when it comes to COVID-19. You guys you've been seen everywhere. I mean, from giving food to the needy, to having to, cover, dead bodies. And I even heard that you guys are the ones who kind of bury the dead bodies with at least maybe like one or two family members when they are tested COVID, which is a precaution that we have to apply because COVID can even transfer to someone by actually washing the person or coming in contact with the dead person. So you guys are doing an awesome job across the country, and everybody is commending you guys for this job. Now, we want to get an insight, as our viewers would be interested to know what is the situation on the ground and what are the plans and preparedness in place to make sure that the spread can be controlled, to make sure that our people can be treated, and to make sure that our people are sensitized. As this is a sensitization platform, we would definitely want our viewers, to take this seriously so that we can control, because Gambia is considered a hotspot right now, according to the news that we are seeing every day. So thank you, Buba. You have the floor.
Thank you so much. First and foremost, I would start with the fact that I am honored to be part of this platform. As a matter of introduction, yes, I have 12 years of experience in managing disasters and emergencies locally and internationally. Coming back to the country front, COVID-19 from the last 2 weeks is having an increase in numbers. A lot of people tested positive, but also a lot of samples collected that are not tested yet because of the laboratory capacity that we have in the Gambia. Both MRC and the laboratory does not have the capacity to test all these samples that are collected quickly and then results are provided. So that's why we have still a lot of samples that are still there waiting for testing. As of yesterday or on Friday, as of Friday, we have 1,090 cases in the Gambia. If you look at that, almost about 19% of that population, or 30-something% of the population is health workers, which is alarming. That means the capacity among the health workers also been stretched to the limit. And if the trends continues as it is, it's going to affect a lot more other people in the community. For Red Cross, what we do based on the National Contingency Plan, based on the National Public Plan as well, the Gambia Red Cross is responsible for SDB, safe and dignified burial. That's our primary duty based on the contingency plan. But also with the National Society, the Gambia Red Cross side, we have our internal preparedness and response plan. When COVID was announced in early February in China, we developed what we call a prepared plan, and we turn this preparedness plan to scenario-based plan. Scenario-based meaning if the disease is confirmed in Senegal, for example, what are we going to do as Gambia Red Cross Society? But if disease is also registered in the Gambia, what do we do as Gambia Red Cross Society? Or if among us as Gambia Red Cross and volunteers, one of us is infected with the disease, what next are we going to? So we have this scenario planning. As the disease was evolving, we are also improving on our scenario so that we can address this COVID-19. Alhamdulillah, up to today, we've not registered any so far, even though we consider us as frontliners, because we have physical interaction with those that succumb to COVID-19 as a result of being either suspected or died as a result of COVID-19. So we are physically interacting with them, do the safe and dignified burial, but yet still, we've not registered a case as Gambia Red Cross Society. So as a plan, we are doing this, I said that's SDB, but also we are doing community sensitization. We are doing fumigation to public offices, markets. Even today, we've did almost 5 fumigations in 5 markets in West Coast region. But also we are providing livelihood support to those that we consider vulnerable people in the Gambia. And this is based on criteria, because in disaster management or in emergency management, what is important and able to be protected by the community is what we consider most as our primary responsibility. If the community feels the market is important and valuable, protected, then market becomes our priority to be disinfected. If schools are considered as important and valuable to be protected, then schools becomes our priority. In the community setting, if, let's say, differently able people or persons were considered by the community as people that needs to be protected, we consider them as a priority. So for our intervention, it looks at the needs, only the needs. And apart from needs, we don't consider religion, we don't consider ethnicity, we don't consider culture, we only consider what is the need of the individual. And we cannot address the wants, but we can only address the need of the population. And that's what's our approach since the beginning of the.
Okay.
Yep.
So that is very well spoken, Mr. Buba.
Thank you
You
very
have
much, Baba.
highlight. Thank you very much for that insight. What you guys are doing. So could you also elaborate on like the handling of the cops, people who pass, if you guys do that, and also like beside people coming to you and giving you resources for distribution in the different areas in the country, what else in terms of sensitization? Can you specify some of the things that you guys do? Because before the panelists come in and contribute, I just want us to touch every area just to cover not only your area but other areas that you observe.
Okay. Thank you so much. The burial process starts with the family members. So if we receive a communication from the Ministry of Health informing us that there are bodies that need to be buried, either they are COVID positive or they are suspected COVID patients or people that died as a result of COVID, what we normally do is we invite family members and we do what we call CEA, Community Engagement and Accountability Process, to inform the community members or the family members what the safe and dignified burial is all about and what are the processes that need to be followed, at least to break the chain of infection. Then we would request from family members three or four persons to join our burial, and they will be oriented, they will be dressed in a PPE, and they will support if they would want to wash the body, they will be supported to do the washing of the body. And then if they want to participate in the lowering of body into the grave, they would also be addressed in PPEs and be part of our team to provide these services. Because SDB, we only follow the wish and the religion or the cultural belief of the family that lost their loved one. But through the principles, the guidance that we have established for SDB, which we discuss with them until we agreed, then we would involve them in the process. Some would tell us, okay, we agree, everything is quite explicit. We want you to continue to do this burial. Away from that, the other activity that we are doing is community sensitization. We are doing caravans, we're going to communities with loudspeakers, talking to people on how to prevent and protect themselves from COVID, and how to improve on their hygiene. Because for us, hygiene is one area that needs to be looked at in the Gambia, and if it improves, then we were going to reduce the chain of infection of COVID-19. And we are also supporting the ministry in terms of contact tracing, community surveillance, as well as infection control, which is case management. So in most of the subcommittees identified by the national COVID-19 response, the Gambia Red Cross Society is participating in each of the committees, because me, myself, I am in logistics and safety committee. Even yesterday and today, I was assigned to supervise the construction of a temporal treatment center at the Independent Stadium. So that's what I'm supervising now, to make sure that we have this temporal treatment facility at the Independent Stadium, because all the treatment facilities are full to capacity, and all the quarantine centers are also full to capacity. So therefore, we want to at least reduce the burden on these facilities to put up a temporal treatment facility. And this is spearheaded by the Minister of Health, but I am assigned from that committee to monitor and supervise the construction of that facility. So by and large, as you know, Gambia Red Cross is an auxiliary to the public authority. So all that we do is to complement what government is doing. And if the government lack any capacity or human resource, then they would ask the Gambia Red Cross if we can fulfill that particular needs of the government. And that's how we worked with government and other partners here in the country.
Excellent.
So, but there are other organizations also that are doing enormous job in this country regarding COVID-19. The media houses, individual organizations, individual peoples are also doing a lot of efforts to make sure that coronavirus is a thing of it in the Gambia. But this, of course, there are challenges we are facing, both in the SDB process and even the implementation of the government regulations. Couple of challenges are facing up. But as I used to say, Gambia never experienced such kind of a disaster or an emergency. So it becomes a learning curve for every Gambian, particularly those that does not have any experience so far. And this is the learning point for them in this particular emergency. So Gambia is learning from this particular emergency. They are not bringing any experience into it. They are learning from these very ones. So there would be some hitches here and there, some challenges here and there, but they can be solved if people are ready to sting, people are ready to cooperate. Because Gambia here have a couple of individuals have international experience and they are ready to provide their expertise to this process. But still is a challenge, a learning curve. We'll all try to do what we can do best to make sure that COVID-19 is a history in the Gambia. But it's a challenge, and now people are being on the street and dying. I will tell you this for real, for sure. Yesterday alone, 6 people died, either in their houses or on the street walking. They dropped, die, and they will be called to pick the bodies. And the day before yesterday, so at least almost 5 of them, 5 of them were reported to us, and we went to pick them there, wherever they were dropped, are dead, and then we transferred them to health facility, either to emergency unit for a doctor to declare them dead before we move them mortuary. Even though we know that they are dead, but we don't have them there to declare them dead. It's only a medical doctor, so we'll move to emergency unit before they are declared dead. So the issue is something that is creating a lot of problem in the community. People are dying in their houses, in their communities, some on the street. And that's the level of the impact on the society now, as we speak.
Crazy.
Okay, excellent. So before I let the panelists come, I just want to ask you that, how do you know, or how do you guys determine those dying are really because of COVID? Now, you're saying that they're dying on the streets. You know, we know COVID, had symptoms, right? So are you guys, have you guys ever find out from their family members if they have seen those symptoms on those people? Because if you have COVID, it doesn't automatically kill you instantly. You have to be having shortage of breath. You have to be struggling, for other things like headache and other things. Now, is it that these people are been mislabeled, sometime has been a COVID patient, or maybe it's not been like, how credible is the testing of these people being COVID? Because somebody dropping on the street could be a heart attack, could be something else. So
Yeah.
we need to factor that.
Yeah, we don't qualify them as people that died as a result of COVID. No. What we normally do, when we receive these calls, ask the family members, and they will explain they have some signs, coughing, some dizziness, some headaches. They have been complaining about that for some time before they succumb to disease. But notwithstanding, that does not make us qualify them as COVID related. But because the family members do not want to touch them if they die, so that gave us some reasons to understand that probably this person has some related symptoms of COVID, and that some of them will tell us, he has been coughing here and there, that's why. So once we pick them, we'll send them to RVTH, and their samples will be collected after. That's why you have this mortuary full to capacity. All those samples will be collected, and before the results are out, some of them will be there 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. Some of them turn positive, yes, but some will bury before the result out, and we will bury them with the assumption that they are suspected cases, not necessarily with patients, but with the presumption that what the family told us. So we bury them with the presumption that they are suspected case, and this is we agreed with the family members not to risk themselves and also to break the chain of infection So we will agree to bury some of those and we'll qualify them and classify them as suspected cases, but not necessarily COVID-related deaths.
So, in other words, who decide
Yeah.
when it's COVID related? Is the medical people?
Medical facility, yeah. Medical facility, yeah.
It's them, yeah. Okay.
Once the samples are collected and the results are back, and then yeah, will tell us that XYZ is tested positive.
And then also, like, among the people that you've been picking up or seeing dying, what is the percentage kind of like being COVID and those without being COVID? Do you think like it's like 50% or like?
Those that we picked from the street so far, the results are not yet out. Because yeah, we've not received the results yet. But some are buried because their family members say, okay, let's bury them. We don't want to wait for the results. And some of them are buried so far. But some are still at the mortuary. Some still want to wait for the result. If it is positive, we'll go ahead with bury. If it is negative, then the family members will do the burial.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for that insight. And I'll come back for more questions, but I will allow my panelists to jump in now, and then they can also explore this.
Thank you very much, Mr. Darboe.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Mr. Darboe. Thank you for that insight information. Very, very helpful, very enlightening, and really clear some of the doubts as to what you guys are doing in Gambia there. So thank you for that. Really appreciate that. I do have a quick question for you. So far, because, you know, as you know, with social media, a lot of people are talking different things, different places, different platforms. Do you know how many people actually died of COVID in Gambia as of now?
Yeah, you go ahead.
Yeah, I said, as of this time, do you know how many people actually died of COVID-19 in Gambia? The ones that have been confirmed?
According to the last situational reports, 19.
19 people.
19 people confirmed COVID-related deaths.
Okay.
But so far, the number of people we buried from last Tuesday to yesterday is 56 bodies.
How many?
56. 56.
Wow. Wow. Wow, that's alarming. Wow. Yeah. Wow. Wow. Okay. So then how many people do you know are in the mortuary as of the latest information you have, waiting for results?
I don't know exactly how much is in the mortuary, but what I do know, the mortuary attendants would call us every day to say, we want you to decongest the mortuary every day. Even the day before, yesterday when I was driving to office, this gentleman called our DB focal person. I'm telling him that I want to come and decongest the mortuary for me. But we cannot just jump up to do that because we also wait for the list from Dr. Bitey, who is in charge of treatment at RVTH, would send us a list every night to tell us A, B, C, D are positive, want you to help in the burial. And then we will start family engagement of those COVID-related deaths before we actually do the burial.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many people or how many dead bodies can the mortuary actually hold when we say it's full? Do you know that?
In Banjul, I don't know the capacity. I don't think Banjul mortuary can take more. You know, I don't know what the Banjul mortuary can take, but I am not sure whether it can even take more than 10 or 20. I am not sure, but I can find that one out.
Sure,
I can find that one out.
I just want to have some idea because when we hear, you know, we in America here and Alice is in Germany, you know, when we hear the mortuary is full, well, if it only holds 4 people and is full, we know it's 4 people. But if it holds 150 people and then they say it's full, we're going to say, wow, that's a lot of people, you know. So
Yeah,
it really gives us a perspective of what is really on the ground there. So yeah,
exactly.
yeah, like I said, we hear all kinds of things from the social media talking the mortuary is full and they need to get bodies out and they don't have place for bodies now. They put in some outside, and we hear all kinds of things that we have no clue what that is all about. And all we have to do is just listen to what people say, and you don't know whether to believe or not.
Yeah.
You know, you don't know because we don't have any sources. We don't have
Yeah,
anybody that we
if
communicate
if you
with to
if you
tell us
say a
exactly what's
mortuary is
happening.
full, you need to have a denominator.
Yep.
Yeah, the number that the mortuary can accommodate, and then that would be your measure or unit of measure to determine
Exactly.
whether it's full or not. But this,
Exactly.
I'm not in a position to tell you exactly what
Sure.
is the capacity of the mortuary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I can say though is really thank you and your team for all the hard work that you guys do, and you are in a very incredible position and doing a very tremendous job in helping families and helping the whole nation, you know, the whole country, helping people. We can't thank you enough for all you do. Really, very, very appreciative. We really appreciate everything that you do. Yeah, definitely.
Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
sure. I'll open it up to
Yeah.
Alice. Maybe he has some questions or want to say something before we move on.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would just add to it because I got the information from somebody about the number of people the mortuary house can take. I think 10 people in
10 people?
Banjul, 10 beds. And this person was there personally and could see that even the refrigerators where they put them, most of them were not working. Some taps, the water is not coming. That was even before the corona. No, he was very disappointed. He's a Gambian staying in England. That's why I can still remember. That's why I know that it's 10 people and nothing more. For a population of 2 million we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But thank you very much, Mr. Darboe. You people are doing a fantastic job.
Thank you.
I know that it's a challenge for everybody, not only for Gambia, but the whole world. It's a new situation and nobody has a recipe for it.
Mm-hmm.
We all try to just, all what we're doing is just to delay time till we have something against it. But right now, nobody can help. You know, the church cannot help, the mosque cannot help, the biggest imam cannot help, nobody can help. So it's God's thing, and we can only pray and hope that God save our lives or help us to have an idea how we can conquer this corona. But we have to play our part. I know, you know, but that's very
Yeah.
good that people are sensitizing the people in Gambia because that was all the time my problem, my fear since at the beginning. You can ask Mr. Sawaneh. We tried very hard to tell the people, inform them that they have to take care and how to wash their hands and. You know, right now, if you look at my Facebook side, you see that I only work with UNICEF because we always try to sensitize the people, people staying home with their kids, for example, things of that nature. And I've seen it's worked by many people around the world, and not only for Gambia. What you are doing is very good because that's the best medicine now for the Gambia, that people know how dangerous this thing is. And this is not to talk about politics or blaming anybody for it, but our how to call it. What we have to do now is to look how we can save ourselves and save the people. It's useless to standing there now, pointing finger to the government, for example. I'm not wrong, that somebody misunderstand, but I'm just or trying to show, make video, how to call it, Gislenma, and all those nonsense. People don't have time for it. Here is about life, not about religion, not about party, not about personal problems. Our concern is the Gambian people and their lives. So if you cannot contribute about how to save them, keep quiet. Don't make the people crazy with your nonsense without any idea telling them how to save their lives. And we have to stop this maslaha and all this nonsense doesn't help us. Now it's about living or dying. And that is not only for Gambia, it's the whole world. If you have voice, you have facts following you, use it. Use it and help them. Tell them how to behave with this corona. That's the most important thing, you know. But I know some people are standing there, even if you talk about curfew, they start insulting or telling you, they use the time then to attack maybe the government or other political parties, which doesn't help us at this moment. What helps us is ourselves and our family so that we go through these difficult times. And saying something about how to behave and how to save ourselves, you do a tremendous job. Than making a video talking about pulling and dragging about somebody's personal issues. Gambians are no more interested for such nonsense. We don't have the time. We're seeing what's going on. Here I'm here. Some people are writing to me something about political or about our economy and say, look, people, the time will come later. What Gambia is having for a problem now is a different thing. If people don't understand what's going on in Gambia, about the economy, the budget of the country, also, it's all good. But right now, it's an emergency time. And we have to maneuver. On what you do, Mr. Darboe, I know it's not easy to synthesize the people because you have to tell them to leave what they are used to. How many years? So you tell them, I know it's not easy, but it's to save their own lives. Even if they hate you, you do your job, tell them what to do. I know our living condition in Gambia is more of social living. It's very good that we live that way. That's why even sometimes when you are poor, you will not realize it because you have other people who will join hands and help you. Nobody is doing that in this world. Gambia is a very good example, and I'm happy to be a Gambian, proud to be a Gambian too. But right now, we have to take everything aside and think of living and the lives of the people. I can only contribute that we put all these political mist, I can say, aside, and the people should be careful with drinking attires and going to clubs, and especially young people, where just not to be crowded. I know it's difficult. If we in Europe, you have to adopt another life, not the life what was happening yesterday. And why? Because we know there's something. And these things should all Gambians also know. We have been talking a long time, some understood it, some didn't mind, but now it's serious. We have to take it seriously. So when people come to taxis, which is our main transport means in Gambia, they have to be very careful. There's also a way of infecting each other very quickly, or going to these celebrations, ngentes, and dates, and I don't know, funerals and so. You have to be careful because the person who died in that compound, you don't even know that he died out of because of COVID. So if you go there, that means most likely because you are going to join the family there. And most of them, they even go maybe without mask. So that means this person gone, and if you don't mind, you'll be the next. So we have to break the chains of infecting each other. And I know it's not easy to stay in your home and you isolate yourself. We are not used to it, but we have to because it's a force now. And if you don't do, the danger is there that you will be the next. Because Corona don't mind whether you are poor, you are armed, or you are strong-headed or not. It's your own thing. So certain things people are, I call it suicide. Suicide, and I will not say many Gambians don't know, they know. I'm having the information what QTV is doing, what GRTS is doing, what you people are doing, the Red Cross informing these people. And so if they have the information and still don't practice it, I call it suicide. After they have nothing to blame but themselves. It's a time to take responsibilities, not only for you. I used to say, the life you save may be your own, which is a fact, because wearing a mask, following the precautions, I'm not only saving myself or other people, but myself. You understand? That is something we, under this curfew, many people are also trying to say, no, it's not. Gambia or the government don't have it important to do it, But what is just trying to isolate yourself, don't go to disco today, and I don't know, it's 21 days, I don't know. You can some countries here in the West, they were locked down for 3 months or more, or like New York, So it's just about life, and not politics also. We should be happy that we have such a government who is concerned about his people. We have seen in the world other presidents who are concerned about themselves and what is happening there now. So Gambian people should understand that it's good that the government is going this way. Not that I'm a supporter of them, but when you compare it to other countries, they are trying their best to see that people live. It's not a punishment, what many people see it. That's why they try to criticize it so, but it's their own good. We have people also who say, this is nonsense, and so going out to demonstrate because of their frustration. I ask, for whom are they going to demonstrate? And they are the very people who are going to be sick the next because they pull themselves together. They are not afraid. They don't believe it. They don't wear a mask. So they are and infect the other. So you'll see every demonstration after demonstration, the graphic will go higher. So sometimes it's just suicide. Yeah, and about the nurses, that is very, very sorrowful anyway. The people who should help in this emergency time are getting sick. You understand? We have already personnel in this case. So the less we have, if they also start to get sick or any other thing, I think that one we have to consider and think very, very, very well about it. It's a very dangerous scenario. You understand what I mean? Because we are about 2 million people there. I was all the time talking about it. We don't even have much as of now, to fight against Corona. And now, even if our personnel is getting weak, so what should be at the end? That's very serious. We have to consider it. Either we try to pull out the people in the nursing school, maybe they know already some are qualified, and pull them also in the hospitals, and because right now I think it's important that every Gambian who can, with his knowledge and capabilities, try to join the field. Not asking about money. Also, I have to receive 10,000 before I do this. Also, no, the money can come later. If Barrow does it, it's good. But everybody should have the heart of a doctor. You're doing it to save lives. We are not here on business, and it's a risk. But Darboe, you are also risking your life. Am I right?
Yeah.
Especially you, who is having these people, these dead people who died because of COVID. So where is your life? Are you asking for money now? More money?
No,
Because
no money.
that's hard. This is the hard. I have respect for such people. I mean, nobody want to risk his life for nothing, But doing it, you ask yourself, your family, your friends, you want them all to live, And Gambia is a small family.
Yeah.
Gambia is a real doctor or a real nurse. Don't think of money first. Then you are no one. Even here in Germany, they think of life first before thinking about money. That is a doctor, because that is their how to call it, they are believing to save lives. I know that it's not easy and you cannot force the people, but I mean, when the government take you as an example, if I was President Barrow, when this thing is gone, I'm going to give you a letter. You understand? I'm going to give you a certificate for it, because that is life risky. So what you are doing, I can only assure that it's more dangerous than any nurse in the Gambia, more dangerous than any doctor in the Gambia, whether you know it or not. I know this thing. And if somebody is brave enough to help the people who already even died of this disease, taking care of them, I think only God can help you. The government cannot pay you. And Gambians, thank you for it. I thank you from my heart, and keep on doing what you're doing, and don't let any confuse you people. So about the how to call it, these strikes for I talk about it, that they say without this money I'm not going to do it, and so, and then there are people who are making also this more how to call it, serious than it is. I've seen this writing in Facebook. I just followed the picture. That nurses say they are getting sick. They are getting sick, but not that exaggerated. Or nurses say they are not going to work, things like that. But picture, when I saw it, that was a picture right at the beginning from the COVID in America, that somebody used and trying to use to say that about Gambia, So people should stop this nonsense too. We are not in times of politics or any nonsense, People are stressed enough, so don't give them more. Because what is more serious than having COVID in your country, especially our small Gambia? You understand? Here, when COVID enters a place, it's very serious. And take Banjul, for example, it's just a population of 35,000, I think. Here in Europe, you'll see COVID, it will come, and you see Italy and Spain. We're talking here about, in their big states, about over 100,000 going, 200,000, 300,000. So that's the fact. People should be careful. I used to say that right at the beginning, we don't have that much. The only chance we have against the corona is to take the precautions to protect ourselves. Mr. Sawaneh is here. It's my how to call it, my witness, because that was my fear all the time. We cannot fight very easily with this thing. When the biggest, look at America, when the biggest countries who have everything, even the Germans here, we have everything here. We have a lot of hospitals, we have a lot of ventilators, but still fighting. I have my mask everywhere. It's just now at home, I don't use the mask. And again, about this mask, we have to explain to the Gambians. I think you do that too, Mr. Darboe, to explain how they should use it, because that is very important also, because some, they don't use it very well. I could have demonstrated here. Even when you wear these blowers, they are for one day, you understand? And take it out, make sure that you don't even touch the in front. Take it out like this, and then, and throw it away. And wash your hands. I know, they are very costly. In Gambia, we use these stuffs, It's okay. Take one so that you can wash it and then bugle it, how to call it, iron it, so that the rest will go, then you can wear it again. Or try to have 4 of it even. You can switch yourself, and it's cheaper. I know that many people cannot afford these blowers. And then to say, okay, can you give me your mask? I just want to go to the shop. These are dangerous things. You have to implement them. That's where, corona is very, very funny. Where people don't think, that's where corona is using to travel within the society. I used to tell people, take a tissue in Gambia, if possible, to open the taxi doors, because these things can live 3 days on metal. And you never know who is the person who opened it before. not very dangerous. But when you are in a car with some people, they are not wearing masks, and in the same car, you know, the air inside, you know, and you are too near to each other. That's also a very big danger. And taxis and these buses are our main way of transport. That's why the best thing is just we say stay home, wash the hands, use the mask. You know, if you are at home, you can throw it away. But when you mingle with people, you know, I think it's the best they wear it. I do it here. Even my door, I don't take my hands now. I take tissue to open my doors. You know, so it's just a matter of taking care. I used to say the life you save may be your own. Because, and then you have compounds where mornings everybody goes away, and lunch time everybody comes back, and then they all eat from the same base. I mean, you know, that is also a very dangerous thing. I know many families cannot afford it, but the best thing, they use plates for each order, because you cannot control everybody where he's going or coming, you know. And in Gambia, many people are living in very small rooms, about 5 people or so. They only have their parlor and, you know, so it's nice that we live that way. We are too social, you know, and that's the danger for us now, that we are too social, because Corona don't like that. So at the moment, we have to just believe and then try to take this new life. It's a new life, I can say. You know, I mean, that's it. And thank you very much for your job. If I am the president,
Thank you,
I'll give you
Alice,
a
for
clap.
that wonderful insight. I mean, I think you have touched every area aspect in terms of comments for a good number of times. So I'm gonna, before I come in with some, you know, final questions on this. I'm gonna allow Sam to come in if he has anything that if you know he didn't mention and would like to mention that. Then I have few questions to ask Mr. Buba, and then we can go into closing. As with this program is prescribed for like an hour, so we are almost like 40 minutes, 40 something minutes. Yeah.
Yep, thank you for that, and thanks, Alice, for your wonderful insight as well. So
Thank you.
this is a topic that we can never finish talking, because it's very important, and I think the government really needs to take the lead in this and helping the Red Cross do their job well. And in doing, one of the things that I want to mention, or a few things that I'd like to mention. Number one, government take the lead in here. When they say there's a curfew in town, that should not exclude anybody. It should be everybody. I mean, I don't like I don't like favoritism, and I like to be consistent. If I say curfew as the president, I mean, even the minister stay home.
Yeah.
I want everybody to stay home. I don't want you to go out, because just like Alice said, we've all heard this before. The life you save may be your own. So stay home, don't go out, and really save yourself and save other people.
Right.
It's very important. And you cannot say there's a curfew here, and then you have certain people running errands for yourself. That cannot happen. That should never happen in our country. All right. So I think the government need to take the lead here, sensitize people, getting on television. Somebody need to be getting on television every day. Get on television every day and let people know how many people die, so they take it seriously. You know, give an update as to how many cases do we have, how many is unconfirmed, how many people have died so far, what are we doing, and what do we need to do. Sensitize people, let them know what they can or cannot do. These are very important things. And of course, give Red Cross full support, 100% support, whatever they need, when they need it, make sure that happens. Put the security personnel online to make sure that they are protected. Give them all their PPEs they need, personal protective equipment they need to be able to help stop the spread of this by not allowing people to go out. But that also is very important, can be well established or accomplished when you provide something for people. It's very hard. I mean, we're sitting in America here talking. You know, I am sitting in America here talking. I know what is easy in America is not easy in Gambia. In America, you know, getting a mask is not hard. Anybody can get mask. There's a plenty of supply everywhere you go. I mean, they give you free. I mean, this is one of the things that the government should do in Gambia. If you want people to wear masks, use that funds, that the $500 million fund that they have, buy plenty of masks and put it everywhere. People have the free mask so they can throw it away after use. Otherwise, somebody's going to use the same mask over and over and over a week. That's not good, because that mask could be contaminated as well. So all of these supplies need to be out there. And of course, like I said, in America, I can go to a grocery store and buy everything I need for a whole week and not even have to go out. Nobody has to go out and buy stuff if we need to stay home. But you can't do that in Gambia because electricity is not stable. People cannot buy stuff, fish and meat and put it in their fridge when there's no electricity. That's not going to work. You see, Gambians will be forced to really go out and go find food. And most people are living from hand to mouth. You can't tell them don't go out. Well, you didn't give them any food to eat at home, so how can they stay home? They've got to go out and go find food to come eat. So provide safeguards for them, provide masks, and make masks mandatory for everyone in the market and around the market. You put security personnel in there with boxes and boxes and boxes of free masks. Anybody that comes in to go to the mask and buy their fish or their grocery, make sure they have a mask on. If not, say, here, you cannot enter the market without a mask on. You've got to have this, force everybody to do it. So when the interaction happens, there is less likely that there will be a spread. Everybody has a mask on their face. So that's one thing. Like I said, sensitizing on television is really very, very important. Government need to do that. And I'm always worried about the ferry terminal. Banjul Barra Ferry is on. I don't know if they've closed it yet, but if you say, if you want to keep people indoors, you have to close the airport, but you also have to close all the borders. This is where you use the military and send them to all the border. Anywhere there's a way for people to come from Senegal to Gambia, put a military post. Give them their tents, let them have everything they need and camp there, so they can stop anybody coming into the country and anybody going out. So if they do this and they also have everything they need, the basic necessities they need, they can stay there and guard that. But the terminal need to be closed. We can't say, let's do all this and you still have thousands of people making in the ferry, standing next to each other, breathing in each other's face with no mask on. That's not going to work. We're doing one thing to protect one area, but there's a lot of bleeding coming out of this other area coming into our country. You see, it's going to make your job, Buba's job, very hard. When you're trying to control one thing, you open a gate for people to come through. I mean, there's going to be a lot of cases like that. So those need to be controlled by the government. They need to take care of that to make your job easy and support you 100% to do your job. So there's a lot of things, countless things I can say. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but the sensitizing part of it is very, very important for people to know what is happening. And another important thing is, I think the RVTH is sick. The hospital itself is sick. Okay. When I say the hospital is sick, the hospital itself is infected. That's why a lot of people get sick. And that may be the reason why some people are getting sick at home, but they don't want to report it. They don't want to go to the hospital because the hospital is already sick. If they go there, they can get worse. They can die there. And without realizing, they really need to say something for them to get help. And the help can only come from the hospital. But when the hospital is sick with infected, is too much stuff in there. People are dying and all kinds of things are happening and people are talking about this. It's very important. I gave an audio in my forum, I think Thursday evening. And I was saying that, everything need to be disinfected. The hospital need to look like a hotel. If you go to a 5-star hotel, the bathrooms, the toilets, the floors, the bed sheet are getting changed every day, pillowcases are getting changed every day. The hospital need to be like that. Everything to be clean. The walls need to be clean. Nothing on the floors, the door handles, everything, even where you touch the toilet to flush it, need to be disinfected every single day. All of that need to happen if you want to kill the virus and get it out of there. But it's, if I look inside Gambia Hospital, RVTH, there was a time I saw some pictures there. It was very sad for me, very sad to see that a hospital looks like that. It's really, really sad. And the government need to do better. If they have all that money that was given to them, spend it on where it is supposed to go. Okay. And I once said this on this platform, when money was coming, it felt like vultures flying over and seeing a dead body, a dead animal, and trying to land on that dead body, dead animal to grab their piece. Everyone wants to get something out of it. And they need to stop that and focus on the funds is there for people, is there to protect people, use it for that purpose. Right. Don't use it for anything else. And this is why part of the reason now we're not getting the resources, the tools and technology we need, all the supplies that we need to help cure this disease and stop the spread in Gambia, fight it and get it out of there. So the government has a big role. And I think the president, even the president being the leader of the country, should come out, just like other presidents are doing, come out and say something. Right. People will take it more seriously. Everyone in Gambia is the president's family. He said it himself. If they are your family, well, talk to your family. Don't be out there and sitting in your office or sitting in the state house and not come out and talk to your family. Come out and talk to your family. They will all listen to you. Whatever you say, even if you're going to say something bad, when you come out, the press has their cameras on you. Yeah. People are going to listen to what you're going to say. So come out and say something. Give warnings. Give advices. Do what you need to do to get people to understand the seriousness of this disease so we can help fight it. And the president need to take the lead in that. So that's where I'll stop for now.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. I think our guest definitely has heard from us. Now, these few things that I want to go through for our guest here. You mentioned that you support the livelihood, which we can attest to that. This platform has donated close to $1,300 towards food management. I think you can acknowledge that. So I know you guys are doing a wonderful job, and other organizations are coming, to support you. I just want to find out if the government, and you can answer all these questions at one time. Okay? If the government support is also there, and how much of a support is the government doing towards your livelihood support and other expenses that you incur, in terms of other things, the assignments you guys do. How much of this government support? I know you guys are an entity that is not government affiliated, but you probably would have to get some funding grants support, because individuals alone, you cannot sustain from those the contribution from those. Another thing is you said you do engage the families before you do the burial, and you said that sometimes the family members would suggest, we want you to go and do it because they might think, oh, the guy has been coughing a few days ago, or he has been complaining of a headache. Don't you think that some of these things might be a fear mongering that has actually caused the families to abandon their loved ones because of all this cloud of cloud information being bombarded by this COVID, that the family members would just say that, oh, we just don't want to be there. You guys go ahead and take it and take the body. And this is the reason why this area is sensitive, because everybody wants to be buried in a very respectable way, lovely way, when you live in this world. So, and as Muslims, we really want to be part of, the burial so that we can get that blessings. So having to see, not that Red Cross are not people, But there are people, of course, and that there are people, but people will appreciate a huge number of crowd to be present in their burial, even though they're not gonna witness it. But just everybody will want that, and to be honorably buried. Then only few people, the people who loves you are not gonna be there. I mean, that's very touching. So, my question is, wouldn't the fear of COVID prevent the family members to abandon their loved ones, um, even though uh, they might not even know the fact that they are test positive or negative? They will just say, let's just go ahead and do it. We're not interested in burial anymore because your numbers are 56 bodies were buried, but 19 of them are being classified as COVID. So that means Red Cross is even burying people who are not COVID. And if that's the case, what happened to the family members of those? Why can't they just, the remaining uh, 30 something bodies, I could say, why can't the family members just come and do a professional burial for them, rather than just abandon them in the hands of Red Cross with few people? Again, Red Cross, you guys are wonderful, lovely people. We love you all. But I would, if somebody would prefer a huge number of crowd to be in their burial than two people or one person. That's just my perception as a person who lived in the Gambia. But you can elaborate on that. Another thing is you also mentioned coffee. Coffee is mentioned. My thing is curfew usually is applied when there is a situation of war or civil unrest. But I've never had any place in the world, and perhaps I'm too young to even notice this. But where a curfew would be as a result of a disease, um, because the disease spreading, like COVID, it's not only about people being in curfew. You know, it's about two things like social distancing, indoors and wearing masks, washing hands. Those three things, if you adhere to that, you probably wouldn't, you probably would be, you would not be a victim, and the spread will be controlled. Now, having somebody go to bed at 8 o'clock or whatever time is the curfew, you know, I think that's related to when there's a civil unrest. But when there's no civil unrest, having to do a curfew, I think that's like allocation and misallocation of resources. You could have used those military officers to be enforcing social distancing. During the day, where people are out in the market, in the ferries. But I mean, people are walking around in clusters. So we are not seeing any enforcement there. Okay, you might say that, it's a democratic state. We don't want to, like abuse people. But we have seen other countries where people have been flocked in the street to stay home, I don't mean that to happen to Gambia because, again, people might say, some people like myself will say, government is abusing our people, but use the military to enforce social distancing, to have, sign everywhere, to talk in different local languages and sensitize people about what they need to do, than having to do a curfew. Because regardless, people are gonna be sleeping around 10 o'clock anyway. Only people who have business outside probably will go, you know. So that is another thing that I think probably is not a right protocol. Somebody can disagree with that. And also, Sam mentioned a very important point about hospitals. I was there in the Gambia last year, and I know Dr. Pide and all those doctors in the clinic. I dealt with them. Okay, I know the hospital. When the first time I stepped in RDH, I had to go back. I had to step back. I swear to God, I had to step back of the door. If you see people hand who have been bandaged, if you see they kind of like like Mr. BT, Mr. What do you call it? Mr. Darboe just mentioned, like the health factor, the fact that the places are not clean, the health equipment itself are not clean. They are not clean and disinfected. I'm telling you, they haven't been. People had a cut. I went out. I had to go back in, struggle from struggle to my body cannot take it because I feel like I'm part of those people. Like in that pain, having all these things. People are caught, and then the blood is coming. They haven't been having the right bandage. They haven't been having the right. They are in pain. There is no anesthesia to the fact that people can, lives can be really saved the way it's supposed to. So what Sam is saying is that people are not going to the hospital because the situation of the hospital is not favorable for them. And then, with COVID, we said you can be treated from home. That's a general speculation. The reason why people don't go to hospital here in the West, because people are assuming that they are killing people. It's a population control. That's one aspect that, in New York here, most people who have been affected by COVID, who are Africans, as a Gambians, didn't go to the hospital and they end up killing themselves by taking lemon, by drinking, ginger and all vitamin C and, like steaming themselves. We did all that here because people are saying that this is kind of a mysterious thing going on, trying to control population. So if you go to the hospital, you don't come back. But in Gambia case, that's not happening. We know that there is no, mysterious, going after people to kill them. But why people are not going to the hospital to the point that they are dropping dead? So the hospital situation is not even favorable for them. That's what Sam is saying. And I kind of witnessed that because I was there. I saw it and I have pictures. Because I went to, to help my brother's kid to go to surgery there. That's when I encountered all this. So I am a living witness of that. But in a nutshell, what I just want, to ask is that I know Red Cross is doing a phenomenal job. You guys are doing your side, and you are everywhere, but you cannot do it all alone. And I know you're working with health folks, and we're also gonna be in contact with them. But the fact of the matter is, how is the enforcement to you? How is it enforcement? Do you think it's lacking, Mr. Darboe? And what is your recommendation? Because if the enforcement is lacking or the funding is lacking, then the people that we are seeing going to increase. The number is going to increase. And I believe COVID is real. I cannot believe anybody that the weather can stop COVID in the Gambia. No way. I mean, I will not take that, advice from anyone. It's not the weather. It's not because we are black. We are immune to COVID. That's not true. Also, because black people here in America are getting killed by 70% of the patients are minorities killed by COVID. So it's not like we are strong, we have a gene, or we are, we have prayers. Prayers, countries who have prayers are getting killed by COVID. It's not that, we are, there's no, COVID is real. It's just that the way we go about it. And then the fact also, one also suspicious thing about Gambia is this was nowhere. It was so low. It kind of barely doesn't exist. 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, all of a sudden it mounts. Ministers are getting it. I don't know if the president has it, but ministers are getting it. Public officers are getting declared. What happened? How did it get out of control like that? So these are some of the questions that we need to ask. And again, I don't want to be political in any sense, but I think our viewers need to know, like all these areas, need to be questioned. The reason why we question areas, because if you question, you get answers. If you don't question, you don't get any answers, right? So that's why we ask questions. So I'm gonna let the Darboe come so we can wrap this up. And I know it's a lot of questions, but if you can remember any one of them, you just answer those, and then we can wrap it up.
Okay.
It was a big question.
Thank you so much. I would start with the enforcement of regulations in the Gambia. Couple of challenges that is faced by the securities, and that's the logistics to provide to the securities to facilitate their movement for the enforcement of regulations. Since the beginning of the state of emergency up to today, the security units are complaining the logistics that should be accorded to them to facilitate their movement and enforce the regulation. And these, they are not forcing people, but they are also doing some educational side with this enforcement of regulation. But their major challenge is the logistics is necessary for them to do this. Looking at the Gambia, you know the porous natures of our borders. If you look at the southern bank of the Gambia, from Tong all the way to Sabi, everywhere that somebody can just enter into Gambia and leave Gambia without the security. So that's why community surveillance was also introduced as a measure to make sure that anybody that comes to your community needs to be reported. But you also have to bear in mind that Gambia and Senegal along the southern bank is like the same people. You go to communities, you have the boy dividing a parlor and a room. So those are issues that are very much called for the security to enforce policy. One, because of the porous nature of the border. Two, the logistics required for securities to that is not enough. And this they are having some challenge in that. The second question was whether the government is supporting Gambia society in what we are doing. Just to cover some issues, the Red Cross, as other organizations, are established by the laws of Gambia. So we are enacted by the laws of Gambia, like National Disaster Management Agency, just like NANA, just like Intel, just like GP, and all other sources that are established by law. That shows the Gambia Cross also should be a solvent institution by the government. But when it comes to support in terms of physical liquidity, no, we've not received any support from the government, not at all. In terms of physical liquidity, what government was for the government was to provide an environment for us to operate. The difference we have with other organizations is in our response or in our operation, we are independent of the government. The government will dictate us what to do, how to do, and where to do. The government creates a strategy, and in that strategy, the government goes by what they want to implement out of strategy, but where to implement actions and activity that bends on the fundamental principles. And that's our independence of government. But by fact, the Gambia Red Cross established by the Gambia government and under the laws of the Constitution of the Gambia. So we equally supposed to subvented by this, but in terms of physicality, no. But the SD services they're doing, the government provided 2 double cabin pickups, which were procured during Ebola. No, single cabin pickups, which were procured during Ebola. That's what we use for dead body management. But that's 2 vehicles are even now. And that's why we have a lot of bodies still in the morgue that need to be buried. Yesterday, our Secretary General had led the government to provide 2 additional double bin, which we are going to use for collecting of bodies from the community that purportedly died as a result of suspect of COVID. Those that we moved from the community to the facility. So we also have vehicles, but the vehicles we are using for SDB, the safe and burial, are also by the government. But our other optional vehicles are run and managed under the resources of the government side. The resources, some of those resources were provided by EU people, and some of the resources we put up an appeal, and our international movement provided something for us to some of those activities. We also placed a proposal with EU, and the EU also provides some funding for an European government. So this is how we are sorting and running the operations we are doing in Gambia in terms of sensitization, SD, case management, so on and so on. For health facilities, before COVID, health facilities were fragile, for sure. And coupled with the issue of COVID, and you can imagine the health facilities are stretched. You have not a very robust health system discharged by growing emergency, as we over the last weeks. We have a surge of this in the Gambia. So that has impacted the health facility more. Plus, the health workers are also getting infected of COVID. And the number of people that need to participate in the COVID-19 fights are also in the quarantine. The laboratory technicians are infected with the COVID, and those are the people who do testing of the results for people to know whether are negative or positive. Most of them, about 13 of them are also in. So there were a lot of issues that is delaying results coming out from the testing, and that's why this would lead to those that they bury and their results not out. Samples were collected, but it takes 5 days before the samples are out, or 3 days before the samples are out, and these bodies can get distorted. And this is what preventing. Before they will get distorted in the mortuary, we agreed the family members to bury them, and we buried our suspected COVID cases to prevent the chain of infection, not necessarily their COVID, but one way to prevent the body not be distorted because the results are yet in. And then the facilities also is not the best cooling facility. Now always go, come, and some of them don't have a site generator that can run those facilities accurately. Therefore, this is the compromise we can do before we have to register out the bodies that are already in the mortuary because there is cooling facility. So that's the reason we are burying some of these without waiting for the results. Sometimes those results come delay and it can create some other issues in the mortuary. So we have to congest the mortuary, but with agreement of the family members. For the coffin, even when it's announced, this is personal for me. When they say 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock, I say no, it does not make any sense to me. Because how many Gambians are out and about around 10 p.m.? If you are driving from West to Brikama, let's say 10 p.m., virtually the road is empty. You can drive from, in the daytime, it takes you 1 hour plus with traffic jam. But around 10 o'clock, you can reach Brikama 17, 20 minutes. So that means everybody is out on the street. So for me, the curfew is going to limit the movement of people because COVID is transmitted because people are moving. One person is, because COVID does move by itself. People move the virus and then they affect others that interact with. But already we experience low transmission. If COVID was introduced when we're only facing, for example, imported cases, but now we are dealing with local transmission. And introducing Q from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., for me, it could add at 8 a.m. when actions are imminent, people are moving about. So by 10 p.m. to 5 p.m., I think for me, it's a low age, probably because a lot of people would already be in their houses. So this is some of the questions, if I remember that you asked. And from the Gambia, I think this is a learning curve for the entire Gambians, but it's also a difficult moment for the Gambians to experience this kind of case of fatality among the population. You do 6 burials, 7 burials a day, 9 burials a day is a nightmare for most of the Gambians. This has never happened. and therefore a lot of people are scared enough. And that's why, as you are saying, cloud of the rumor, cloud on top. People
There's
don't,
no
if
more
somebody is even attacked by, say, heart attack, something else, people just leave you because they don't want to talk. And that might not be related to COVID back. And we are going to experience most of this is happening in Gambia as we are going. That's why we are changing communication strategy now. As we used to do things before when the COVID, the early days, we need now to change the strategy of communication. At least people do understand all these things happening. Most of them might not be COVID related, and people cannot abandon their family members. So once they show some signs and symptoms, they to report for is rather late. And I think this is what is up. People don't have confidence into the health facility. Probably they think they will be tested. They are going to be to quarantine, and therefore they stay in their houses and die in their houses as a result of probably all related disease, not even COVID. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you, Buba. So we are, like I said, we are just wrapping up. Like you have already give insight of this COVID situation, and then the fact that people have been buried before the test results are here actually cause this mismatch of numbers. So that means that is quite understandable. You kind of find out later when they're buried already. So that is really, that really makes sense because nobody want to take the risk of that. Even here in the US, sometimes test results do take some days, and if the family members don't want their corpse to sit around for long, definitely that could be a reason to do so. Now, I'm just gonna say that you have given us a tremendous idea of every angle of the enforcement, the efforts that Red Cross is making. I think you guys are making a tremendous effort. That's why people trust Red Cross. You do what is best in the interest of Gambia, and like you said, you work with the government, and then you do as prescribed, but at the same time you use your judgment according to the needs of the Gambian people, which is key. So I think with this COVID challenge, we have a long way to go. As you know, the spread, you have to do the trace contact. Once somebody has it, you have to trace all the people who the person has been in contact with. That's not going to be easy challenge. Gambia, the way we are, our social life, one day you get in touch with 100 people.
Exactly.
This is a challenge here. It's even different from the West, whereby people are really, individualized. They're in their corners. But in the Gambia, it's totally a different situation. Now, trace contact, making sure that people also understand. If you tell them because of our norms, our values, don't shake hand, they will say no. Our religion said you have to shake hand. So to move people from understanding what is going on and then make them at least temporarily forgo certain things, they would just be they would just be really denying those things. So that is the challenge that we have. We can come on social media and then sensitize. At the same time, if people are not really believing it or they're not really willing to give up certain things just temporarily, as of now, to make sure that we cut the chain of spread, then we are still going to be talking about COVID in Gambia for a long time. And I just want to find out what happened to other diseases. Are they still in existence, like malaria and other things that usually, kill people? Because we're in rainy season, and definitely malaria used to kill more people than any other disease. So now, are you seeing patients of that, or is everything been overwhelmed? That would be my final question. Overwhelmed,
I think malaria is an endemic problem in the Gambia. We are seeing cases of malaria, of course. Malaria cases coming, and all diseases also coming on the rise because people did not get the health facilities. For example, those hypertension, those diabetes. Some of them will go to hospital for treatments, and therefore it will increase the situation. These disease. Malaria also is endemic, as I said. And even the Minister of Health even doing a campaign for antenatals, mothers that are normally going to the hospital to go and then do their antenatal services. Some of them are annoying since the name of this call because of fear. But now the Minister of Health is doing a good coming on that for mothers to go and do their regular clinical visits, at least prevent their children or young ones for the communicable disease so that they get their immunizations like tuberculosis, meningitis, and so on. So that's is also going on. But I would also want to respond to the use of the mask. I have an issue around the use of mask and how we discuss it and the waste management around mask. As somebody said, people in the country have one mask, they will use it for weeks or 3 days or 5 days. And mask, what it does is to prevent you from somebody that you're into. So that means the mask, if it is in terms of economic time, we are using mask is our collateral. It's defense between you and the second party. So that means speaking of all the virus that is from the second party to you. So that means the mask themselves need to disinfect. Holding it, taking it, removing it, placing it on your table, tomorrow you get it and then put on again. That in itself can even be a cause of death in this country. So that's my major problems in masks. People need to educate, people need to sensitize on how to use masks. And this boils down to what the other gentleman talks about. We should have a big point of mask in the country. Anybody should have access to mask. Once you use the other one, there should be disposal as well. Everywhere in this country we have disposal. You come, drop in the disposal point, pick a new one, and those disposal points should also be collected for IPC, infectious control management. They need to be incinerated. We cannot just store them. You cannot bury them because you cannot also store them onto the open dump site. Children can go pick them, and you cannot bury them. So there is a whole cycle of management around COVID-19 in Gambia, including the use of mask and the waste management around mask. So, and this our communication now focus on, and we should intensify that, and also to the humanitarian diplomacy government make sure that picking points of masks available, disposal points are available, and how the waste would be for further disposals also should happen. At least that's my observation, and that's how I think we should around the use of masks in this country. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So let's wrap this up. Finally, Alice, if you want to final, any final words from you before we end.
That you took the time and inform us know what's happening on the ground, and this from horse's mouth. That's the best information we can have, especially about the work of the Red Cross and what's going on now in the Gambia. I know that you are doing a tremendous job. It's not the easiest thing. We can only thank you for your service, your job, and your colleagues. And yeah, we are very happy to have you people there. Yeah, in this case, also, I would also, my only advice to the government is to try and make sure that people have enough masks, because the mask will save a lot of trouble than not giving the people enough mass, that you have more patients, and then you need more doctors and ambulances. You know, I think the most important thing, they used to say, to kill is sick, make sure that you cut the head. You know, you can save a lot of trouble. So that's how I see this thing now. Now I think the government should look and invest, do the investment where it is important. Let them have advice from the Samantha, I think, the health, you know, because the government themselves, they don't know where to put that money in. As I said, the corona is a new thing for the whole world. All what we're doing is just experiment. So, but still, we try to see where is the most important thing, like the masks, for example, that the people have enough access to these masks, or to give them even the money so that they can make this easiest one with the stuff. I mean, and then to explain the people how to use it and why is it important. I think you are doing a good job, Mr. Darboe, and keep it up.
Thank you.
I think that's very important.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. So we come to the end of this program, New Gambia Platform Civic Education Show. And Mr. Buba Darboe, you're doing a wonderful job for the Gambia. You know, you have extensive experience, and we thank you. We thank Abdullah also and Mr. Senghor for working with us as partners, and then for having you contact you to represent Red Cross on this show. Again, we have this show every Sunday, talking about issues actually affecting our citizens and our government, so that we can sensitize one another and also learn from one another. Through that, we can build a better Gambia. It is about time for our citizens to be part of this, to be patriotic, and to also see Gambia first. Once we do that, I think we're going to move to a right direction. Alice and Sam,
Yeah,
and the other guys have doing an awesome job for the Gambia. So we thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care.